In nice guy recovery, there's a concept called monogamous to mom, which describes how nice guys often form deep emotional bonds with their mothers in early childhood. It's a strong, enduring attachment, and it's rooted deeply into our unconscious and can unintentionally shape the nice guy's romantic relationships. The concept is often misunderstood. Oftentimes when I'm working with a nice guy and we talk about monogamous to mom, he's not exactly sure what that means. And so today I want to go a little bit deeper on the subject and see if I can explain a little bit more what monogamous to mom is. Now, ultimately, the nice guy has developed an unconscious belief that he needs his mother's, all women, approval so that he can feel validated and good about himself. And as a result, the nice guy will often pick the wrong type of person to be in relationship with because unconsciously he seeks out what's familiar. Now, often the nice guy's mother is maybe distant, anxious, critical, controlling. Sometimes she'll give the boy the nurturing he needs, and other times she's going to withdraw her love. And what this does is it creates an intermittent reward punishment system. This is the same system that gamblers are addicted to. Now, as a boy, he's always trying to gain his mother's approval and avoid her disapproval. Sound familiar? But when the boy becomes a man, he will unconsciously pick partners who have the same qualities as his mother. And in this way, the nice guy remains monogamous to his mom. Unconsciously, he sees his partner as a mother figure rather than a romantic partner. The way to break free from being monogamous to mom is to recognize these patterns and make decisions to challenge them. Later on in the video, I'm going to give you some practical things that you can start working on to start breaking free from your mommy issues. But before I do, please hit the like button. And if you're not already a subscriber, click that too. It costs you nothing, and it helps other recovering nice guys find this information. As children, we're egocentric, and so we learn to manage others' emotions because we believe that everything that's happening in the world is related to us. For example, we cry, mother comes and soothes us. That feels good. Another time, we might receive a scolding for the same action. You need to be quiet. The nice boy is unsure what to do, so he becomes quiet. When his mother is inconsistent with her love, sometimes showering him with it and other times withdrawing it, he starts blaming himself for his mother's anger and her anxiety. If you identify as a nice guy, your mother likely struggles with mental health issues. This can be anxiety, depression, or unresolved trauma. This contributes to her strange interactions with your father. Since she's not getting what she needs from your father, she's going to project her frustrations towards the nice boy, becoming overly critical, controlling, manipulative, and all of this is in order to fulfill her own needs. For this reason, your mother may have treated you like a surrogate partner. She might have even shared her marital frustrations with you. She might seek out affections from you that she's not getting from her husband, your father. And this is going to lead to her projecting her dissatisfaction onto you. She might use comments like, "Don't be like your father," or "Don't be like other men," or "You're just like your father," implying that you shouldn't be like that. And this can feel really rejecting, especially as young boys. And it puts a lot of pressure on the young boy to become the dependable man in her life. Her message is clear: don't be like other men. So in order to gain her approval, what do? We become really nice boys. Now, moms also have a lot of anxiety about their children growing up and leaving her. It's this fear of abandonment that often causes her to create a dependency on her. In reality, she's dependent on you, but her message to you is you must depend on her. Now, when a nice guy is taught that he can't navigate life without his mother's approval and trying to avoid her disapproval, he develops codependency. This is the dynamic that shapes the boy into the nice guy. The boy becomes his mother's supplier of happiness, sacrificing his own sense of self in order to please her. The fear of abandonment drives his efforts to ensure her happiness and just perpetuates the cycle over and over again. As the nice boy develops into the nice guy, he's still unconsciously deeply connected to his mother. He continues the intricate dance of approval and disapproval. Now, despite his best efforts to grow and evolve, the familiar pattern persists, and he's likely to choose a partner who has similar qualities to his mother, creating a new codependent relationship. But his partner, being sensitive to the bond that he has with his mother, also leads to her resentment towards her nice guy partner. In effect, the mother is always controlling the nice guy's behavior unconsciously. Even if the nice guy is expressing anger and disdain for his mother, he's still being monogamous to her because she's still controlling his emotional regulation. So how do you break free from your mommy issues? How do you develop passionate partnership with someone when you have this codependent tendency in your life? I believe there are 4 areas that the nice guy must address so that he can become independent from his mom and have a great relationship with his partner. These 4 areas are: number 1, connecting with other men. Number 2 is seeing your father more accurately. Number 3 is individuation. And number 4 is severing the enmeshment. Let's take a closer look at each of these. So number 1, connecting with other men. I've said this before, but nice guys don't have enough emotional connection with other men. We grow up and we develop a belief about masculinity that's mostly shaped by our mom's opinions about men. And because the nice boy is closer to his mother than his father, the nice guy is more inclined to have relationships with women more than men. However, until we start connecting with other men, we're going to stay hopelessly stuck in our nice guy syndrome. On the other hand, when we create a brotherhood, we learn that being a man is good. We recapture true masculine essence by learning to develop healthy bonds with other men who are going to challenge us, keep us accountable, and sharpen our edges. And the best way to do this is in a men's group. And there's many coaches and therapists out there that offer men's groups as a part of their service. I would highly recommend seeking one out. Number 2 is seeing your father more accurately. Many nice guys lack healthy masculine role models in their father. Our fathers were often busy and outside the home, taking care of and providing for the family. And it's in this absence that it makes it difficult for the nice guy to understand and embrace his own masculinity. After all, we've been taught not to be masculine and that it's bad to be a man by the women in our lives. But when we start to see our fathers as a man who, for the most part, was doing the best that he could, dealing with his own wounds and his unconscious beliefs, we can sort of let down our defense mechanisms and we can see him as a human being who was struggling. Now listen, many of our fathers shaped our initial views of masculinity, and these guys were emotionally detached, tired, and unavailable. But what I found in doing men's work is that as I engage with other men and I start to feel a sense of safety and friendship, I also start to see my father as someone who was also isolated, who felt lonely and anxious, and didn't know what he was doing for the majority of his life. He was just concealing these things away from us as a way to deal with his own insecurities. This realization can really transform our understanding of the masculine, and it can help us see our fathers as fallible men who are suffering in silence. Restoring our relationships with our father can shift our perceptions towards a more integrated view of masculinity and free us up from the intense emotional constraints that we inherited from our childhood resentments. A practice I recommend is writing a letter to your father. This isn't necessarily for him. It's really more about your healing. In the letter, lay out the moments he might not have been there for you, or times where you felt trust was broken, or times where you felt hurt. This letter is for you, and it's okay if he never reads it. Then write a second letter to yourself, noting where you feel you've let yourself down, or you've maybe even let other people down. And as you start to read these 2 letters together, you'll start to see patterns that maybe you're unaware of. And it's helpful to discuss these patterns with a coach, a counselor, or a trusted friend so that you can release again that childhood resentment that you've been carrying around your entire life. Now, if you're feeling really brave, go ahead and share these letters with your father. Who knows, it might open up new avenues in your relationship. Number 3 is individuate. Individuation is a pivotal shift in personal growth. It's recognizing and understanding that those people around us and ourselves were all distinct individuals. Psychologists call this individuation. Now, it's crucial to see your mother and father as independent from their roles in your life. We can break free from the idolizations of our parents and really embrace their humanness. When we do this, we can learn to set boundaries with others because we've developed autonomy. We know that a boundary isn't going to lead to disownment, probably in most cases, and that it's actually going to increase the connection. Now, additionally, because the nice guy hasn't individuated, he's going to see others, especially women, as just extensions for meeting his needs. This is a cognitive distortion that leads to misinterpreting your partner's actions as a personal affront, expecting them to fulfill all your emotional and physical and sexual needs. This is not realistic. It is narcissistic. Number 4, severing the enmeshment with our mothers. Part of individuation involves severing any enmeshments. Now, nice guys will often find themselves, like I said, deeply intertwined with their mothers, and it's this strong desire to please and care for her that keeps us stuck in our nice guy syndrome. In this emotional closeness, the lines are blurred between independence and enmeshment, and it really makes it difficult for nice guys to separate their own identities from that of their mothers. Now, you might be able to untangle this web of enmeshment if your mother is willing, but it's really going to require that she's done enough self-worth, probably done some counseling, maybe been in some kind of recovery group where she's able to acknowledge her own role in the enmeshment. Now, this is a rare occurrence. More often than not, it's going to be necessary to distance yourself, at least for a season, while we work on learning and setting boundaries. And taking a break from this relationship can allow us the space we need to grow personally and to reflect on what we really want in life. Again, this step is a huge challenge, but it is critical for true individuation. And always consider seeking professional counseling, coaching, in order to navigate this really complex process. In conclusion, the concept of monogamy to mom highlights a deeply ingrained emotional pattern that most of us nice guys have experienced, where our childhood relationship with our mother has impacted our adult romantic relationships. Understanding this and addressing the patterns involves recognizing the attraction to partners who unconsciously resemble our mothers and working through the emotional and psychological entanglement that hinders our personal growth. We do this by connecting with other men, by reevaluating our relationships with our father and individuating from our parents. We also have to sever any enmeshment with our mothers. Nice guys can forge a healthier, more autonomous identity as an integrated man. This self-work is essential for developing a genuine, fulfilling partnership and breaking free from the constraints of past conditioning. Thanks for tuning in today. And if you like this message, check out the one I did on how to be a man and embody masculinity. And I'll see you next time on The Recovering Nice Guy.